What's happening, party people? I am in Las Vegas, Nevada, about to get Lemonade back on the road. Man, I hadn't even had the energy to get over there and hook the battery up to start that car. But I got some other stuff going on. Got a couple of people's car to tinker with in town here. Worked on a C70 like a 2012 couple days ago. I need to help this guy order parts so we can get his timing belt and all that stuff done down close to the Henderson area. Then after I do that, man, it's probably going to be about 5 days or so. I'm going to head over to the LA area. There's somebody not far from Brinkley that I'm supposed to help, Alex and his lovely wife. Then I'm going to go a little bit closer to the coast, help out a gentleman there. Then LA, I may have to help a person or two. Then go down to the San Diego area, help a person or two. Then over to Phoenix, help a couple people there. Then up to Albuquerque, deal with some stuff there, maybe help a person or two. Then head into Oklahoma City, Texas, Arkansas, and back home. So, man, I can't add any more people to the schedule. I got to work on getting home, then getting out on the East Coast, taking care of people that's been waiting for me for months there, and doing what I can. Now, I want to remind you folks that the best help you're going to get from me, and the cheapest help you're going to get from me, is you using these instructional videos to fix your own car. I get people, they request my help. I get out there. I work for several days. I give them the invoice, and then, they're not prepared to pay the invoice. If I work on your car for 4 or 5 days, and you keep adding things to the list, you're running up a tab. In general, if I'm in a hotel and you're paying for 6 hours of labor a day, you're probably looking at somewhere around $450 a day. So you keep me 4 or 5 days, you're over $2,000. Then, if you ask me to obtain parts, buying parts for you, and I need reimbursed for your parts, that's going to run that tab up some more. And really, I'm not in a financial situation to cover your parts, your hotel expenses, what it cost me to live in your area. Now, it'd be cheaper for me if you ship your car to Cincinnati and I work on it there. But it's cheaper for you if I come to your area and you put me up in some modest accommodations and I work on your car there. You'll normally come out 50 cents on the dollar. But man, when you want me to rebuild a car, that tab starts running up quick. And man, it's really not fair to me for you to tell me to come out, do this stuff, you got me covered, and then I hand you the tab and you don't have it to pay. That's tough on me. I really can't afford to fix your car and mine. I got stuff I need to do to my car that I can't afford to do, let alone work on your car. So please be mindful of that. That gets tough on me. I hate to shut the whole thing down and just have people fix their own cars off the videos, but that's an option that maybe we need to consider. So anyway, that's where I'm at on that. I had a couple of people order stuff from my website. When I'm on the road, man, I sometimes don't have those parts handy. Now, if it's some critical part that you need tomorrow, man, go to the dealer and get that part. You're going to get it as soon as they get it to you. If you order parts off my website and I have them with me, I'll normally ship them the next day. However long the post office says it'll take to get there may or may not be true, but I ship that stuff out as soon as I can. If I don't have it, I'll often go to the salvage yard, gather those parts, and ship them to you within the next couple of days. We all know I go to the salvage yard often. No matter where I'm at, you can expect me to go to the salvage yard if there's a salvage yard that has Volvos nearby. So I do that. But I typically don't know how long it'll take the post office. I order stuff from the post office, and I'm waiting for it in a town, and it doesn't get to me for 3 or 4 days when I ordered 2-day shipping. I don't have control over that. I wish I did. Man, I'd hand it to you. So do be aware, if I'm traveling on the road and you need something immediately, contact me direct. Say, hey, Robert, I need this part immediately, and I will do my best to get it to you immediately. I can't test parts in the junkyard. I usually do not take my car apart to test a part for you and then ship it to you. So we're taking a chance on getting stuff out of the junkyard for $25 versus you paying $200-300 for it at a auto parts store or at the junkyard. So keep that in mind. I can't warranty parts, and I can't warranty work that I do for you, because once I get done, I get in my car, drive off. If something happens 3 days later, I'm too far away to double back and fix something that'll cost $25 when it'll cost me, several hundred to come back and fix that. Like me leaving those parts in the wilderness the other day, that cost me about $375 to backtrack and get those parts I forgot. Man, that's $375 I lost because I forgot to grab a fender, some headliner material, and some other part that I left behind. I do pay for my own mistakes. I don't normally pass those on to other people, but it's difficult for me. That's why it's easiest if you have all your parts on hand and I'm fixing the car at your location instead of some remote location that I'm at somebody else's mercy to accomplish. So that's that. It's hard for me to reply to replies on YouTube. I mentioned that. And soon I'm going to start answering basic questions at the end of the video. So I'll make the video, and at the end, if there's a common question that somebody has, I'll go ahead and answer that back there on the end of the video. For those of you that stick around that long, you'll get that benefit. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the Tinker Day, back on this platinum wagon. I forgot to get electrical splices for these sun visors. But we're going to get started by putting a headliner in, getting that secured, put all that stuff up except for those sun visors. Then we're going to jump on this coolant stuff, timing belt, all that kind of stuff, all these other coolant things we got to do. And then we're going to work on the rear suspension, get the anti-sway bar in, this strut on this side, this shock on this side, and then we're going to work on that subframe and oil pan. So let's get this headliner cracking. Material's all good. Time to get it secure. When you replace these tail lights, you got to take this piece of trim off of it, because this is a color match trim. So I'm going to pull that off of there, put it on the replacement light. And when you look at these things side by side, you can see the difference in the condition of them. This one's really dull. This one almost looks like new. Time to take a break, go for a walk. I hadn't walked in a couple days, and man, my back is acting up. So I'm going to go for a walk and come back and continue. Told myself I was going to jump on this coolant when I got back from my walk, but I have decided to finish off this rear suspension. So I'm going to clear this car out, finish this rear suspension, and then get on this coolant system. But man, I got that headliner done. That is looking good. And I did find an 850 trim for the sunroof. So I think the buyer prefers that. So there we are, folks. That material will settle down and smooth out. Let me get this rear suspension, empty out the back of this car. Get to work on putting this car back together. Start off with putting this anti-sway bar on, and then tidying up the back end of it, and then starting on the front. Finally got this rear anti-sway bar in, and these end bushings. This is a job and a half. I didn't remember that being that hard, but the anti-sway bar will probably work best if you just put the car on ramps. These end bushings, you got to float it on those delta links back there to get those in and out. All done, it's lined as best I could. You should get in alignment. Time to get on the front. Well folks, I got another win. Was able to get the CV bolts loose with this cheater pipe and my tools I just picked up, so didn't have Henrietta. Glad it broke loose. Got everything on the rear suspension tidied up, got everything in the back put back. Now it's time to get on the front. Got a little bit of a challenge. The jack could not lift the car up high enough to get the jack stand under here with the post on it. So this car is pretty low compared to where I want it. Wish I could get that jack up higher. Let me see if I can find a block or something to put in there, jack this up higher. Occasionally I'll get a message with somebody asking how the original anti-sway bar is positioned, and that's it right there. Oh wow, somebody's got a mess going on with this drain plug, and it's dripping. I just pulled the drop off of it. Leaking coolant. I really don't like these drain pans with this big flat part on there because they splash everywhere. So I'm about to get wet pulling this drain plug out. I put the jack under the passenger side of the subframe, and I got that thing up higher where I could get that jack stand under there. Give me another couple of inches of clearance here. Hopefully that'll be enough for me. I had to get the subframe out, do a bunch of work, getting all this stuff loose from the subframe. And I'm going to check this timing belt, probably replace those parts as well. You get a timing belt done with a Volvo sticker, probably done by Volvo. It looks like it was 142,000, done on October 27th, 2008. So this timing belt's 14 years old, and it looks like it has the original pump. So it's one of those classic Volvo jobs where they don't do the pump. All this stuff is due. Let's see what condition the belt was in. Classic oil on top of the engine. Not too much though, not bad. The oil cap's pretty tight. Also, these screws that hold this dust cover on, this spark plug cover, was man, they weren't even snug, so that was good. Nobody over tightened those. Let's pull this cover off of here. Up, let me use two hands so I don't break anything. Well, as suspected, being done at 142, and now it's at 200, that's only 60,000 miles or less, so the belt's not that bad, but we're going to replace it with the rest of the stuff down here. And this is missing the clips. Somebody put tape on the front and on the back, so we're going to go ahead and cut that tape, get that off, get this out of the way, pull the ECU box out so we can have access to this other stuff a lot easier. Mark on the crank is dead on. So that's dead on. Not sure where the cams are because the cover's off, but I'll deal with that when I put it back on. Your baseline is the crank mark. Didn't have my T45 socket, so I had to use my T45 Allen with a cheater socket and a 3/8 extension on it. Broke that thing loose. Now I'm gonna spin it out. That idler roller's aftermarket, I think it says NFK. Looked like the same one that was on that T5M. And this came off. It's starting to get noisy. Now those normally go 200,000 miles, which is where it's close to. So I used to replace these every other timing belt, but they can go 3. It was on its time for the 3rd change, so that's when it was be done. These are pretty good when they're OEM. Me and Jason was trying to figure out it's best to remove these with the engine hot or cold. This engine was cold, and man, just about all that gasket stuck to the water pump, so maybe it's cold. New owner of this Platinum bought a Volvo Serpentine belt, 1743. It went right on. For some reason, the other belts, Conitec ones, are not. So I don't know if it's the ID or the OD, difference, but this Volvo belt went on real easy. I'm going to drop these ECUs back in, and this timing belt job will be done. I'm going to go do the heater core, firewall junction, and some other heater hoses. Then I'll drop this subframe. Well, this is a first. I thought somebody might have done this. Somebody glued the heater core to the pipes that come out down to the heater core. So I got to figure out how to pry those apart so I can do the right thing for this situation. Then on top of that glue job, they're clamped to hoses right there. So this is a full-blown mess. Let me get this pedal out of the way so I can deal with this craziness. Might have to cut those hoses up there. Alright, I'm gonna say it. Whoever glued this together is a nincompoop. Now I gotta clean this garbage off. That's alright, I'll do it. I got it all cleaned up, ready to go. Firewall junction in place, snapped in. I'm gonna swap out the heater core because that one was 8 years old. Put in a new Swedish car parts core and close this up. Somebody put T25s in there instead of those T15s, so that hole's probably damaged. Got to keep going in with T25s. This radio's not working, but it may be unplugged. There's a plug there unplugged. It used to have an amp there. Maybe the amp quit working and somebody didn't know how to hook it up without the amp. Okay, I marked up this heater core. 1022 on both ends. Go ahead and put it in from Swedish Car Parts. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.